Hi guys, sunny Sunday greetings from Warsaw, Poland. I have finally, after months of promises, broken promises, published the audio version of Too Late May.
It was as if my mind had done a 180 and my feet had suddenly laid in a concrete block. And anyway, going up to an attractive girl in a coffee shop who was minding her own business, I couldn't shake the thought that this was a gross invasion of privacy. Was I seriously thinking of going up to them? No way. They were probably busy, waiting for a friend, boyfriend probably. And anyway, the area was too small. If I went up to them, everyone would hear. They would feel really uncomfortable, trapped. Before I knew it, security would be dragging me out. Did Starbucks have security? Well, they would probably phone for the police.
Police, please. Sorry? Well, the thing is, there's a sketchy guy in here. Starbucks, Knightsbridge? Who one of my staff actually saw earlier in another part of Knightsbridge going up to girls in the street and peering into windows. He's like a serial peeping Tom who accosts them too. Wait, he's just gone up to a customer. I don't know, he just got really close and started to talk to her. No, he's gone away now. Anyway, the customer clearly didn't like her, I could tell, but was smiling just to be polite. Yeah, he probably did touch her at some point. That's assault, isn't it? He's in the toilet now. An hour? Well, what do I do? I mean, should we lock the toilet or something?
The thing about day game is it's one of these crazy pursuits where you can, pad around the streets of your city for hours on end, getting increasingly in your head, feeling the spotlight effect at every street corner or in a shop. And this was an example of the difficulties that you face after you've kind of had your first win and you kind of launched yourself, but then, a few weeks later, perhaps after your introduction to day game, you're out in the streets on a Saturday afternoon and nothing is quite going right and you feel proper weird, and then society pops up and tells you what you're doing is mad and crazy.
A barrister stands up in a wig and gown.
Harassment, madam? Yes, Section 5, Public Order Act. No real defence. No.
The prosecuting barrister turns to his papers.
In interview, he said he was just shopping, but then later admitted to having approached a girl who was getting married. He bluffed a bit, but we're pretty sure that he was all too aware that his actions amounted to harassment.
Mr. Forrest, it says here that you are a professional. A lawyer, in fact. What exactly were you doing? I was just out approaching girls, Your Honour. I see. In the street? Yes. Do you do this often? I mean, have you done it before? Once or twice, yes. How many girls have you actually approached? Let's say, in the last week? 500, give or take? A pause. This matter will need to be referred to the Solicitors Regulation Authority Disciplinary Committee.
This is a very useful kind of pocketbook aid memoir that you can put onto your iPhone and listen to and have a laugh at, as well as giving you some, genuine examples of street approaches, the good, the bad, the ugly, and examples of what to do, as I say, and what not to do on a date. And I think keeping the street approach model simple is just key, and just kind of rolling it out and it becoming second nature, just like, I don't know, Novak Djokovic practices 100 forehand or topspin forehands, and then he goes into the match and it's just automatic. It looks very glamorous and fantastic, but it's all because of the amount of times that he's actually done it. Then you can obviously improvise, but you've got to get the model down first.
But the most notable interaction of the day was with a white South African. She was about 30, with a cool hat and a waistcoat, a little quirky, but also confident, as if she worked in management or something. I executed a yad stop and paid a compliment by telling her she looked pretty. And then when I noticed she was wearing a tie, very quirky. It was an easy opening conversation. Quirky, I like it. You're proper well dressed for a Sunday at Westfield. Obviously a classy girl. Now that I had paid the compliment, I needed to tease. Or perhaps you're one of those privately educated types, a Centrinians girl whose daddy owns a ranch or is an oil tycoon, and you've been petted and protected and spoilt from an early age. She liked it and threw her head back and laughed. She was attractive and confident, and I noticed how much easier this made the interaction. It had been a feature throughout the weekend. It seemed rude, but it had worked, so I went on. I'm guessing you went to a Roman Catholic boarding school, or a convent.
Oh my God.
She said, laughing.
I did.
You're a nun?
No, private boarding school.
She now laughed some more. The laughter seemed to be a kind of aphrodisiac in the moment, and I noticed myself take a tiny step forward towards her. I did not move. I just stood there. A normal tendency is to run away from a situation, but now I decided to do the reverse and move towards her. Emboldened by John's encouragement to be more physical and to stand your ground and stick with it.
But my daddy's not an oil tycoon. I'm a PA in the energy sector, so...
Close.
I guess.
I'm Alex.
Helen.
What was different about Helen was that she was the right age for me, meaning I felt she was long-term girlfriend material. She had a good job and was confident and could hold a good conversation, unlike some of the younger girls I'd stopped.
It's actually better listening to this than it is watching a video of a street approach. And of course, there are few decent videos of a date, for example. And yeah, because all of the stories in here are real events with real girls, you've got the kind of the nuts and bolts of the street approach crystallized into a little bit of a scene with a real girl. I mean, I've got probably goodness knows how many examples of the street approach in Too Late Mate, as well as examples of what to do and what not to do on a date.
I walked her back to a hotel where she was staying, and we kissed en route. But it was very fleeting, and she would not go further. But somehow I badgered her to come in for a cup of tea and found myself on her bed in the hotel. It was then that she gave me a speech.
Listen,
she said.
Nothing is going to happen.
I ignored her and touched her on the leg as we sat on the bed. This set her off.
Okay, look. You know how you have friends, okay? Normal friends?
I nodded.
Okay. So you know how you just have a drink and a nice chat, or they lend you things and you go on trips together or meet on birthdays and parties?
I said nothing. She continued.
Well, that is what we are. That is all we are. All right. Do you understand?
Now, these words had actually stung. I had heard them in the past, and I still thought that the girl might actually mean, in the literal sense, what she is saying. I had always assumed that if a girl told you such things, that they were factual, to be taken at face value, and that it was official. She had no attraction towards you whatsoever. I had now learnt to qualify such remarks, and that in all likelihood, a girl was deploying them to avoid being thought of as a slut, and so simply not wanting it to happen too quickly. The fact that she had let me into a hotel room, and we were on the bed together, spoke louder than any words. But still, she was pretty blunt about it. And as I said, the words did sting as they rekindled the unhappy failures of the past. I knew intellectually not to take it personally, and to laugh and shrug it off, but I was yet to have enough positive reference experiences to really believe it. She insisted that I go. She was, after all, a 30-year-old woman who was also looking for a long-term relationship, and she did not want it to go too far. She dug her heels in, and I had no choice but to leave. Sure, I said. I better go.
This is such a classic problem for guys before they learn about day game and dating, is the whole just friends problem. It's so easy to think that you just need to be friendly with the girl, you just need to make her your friend, and then things will happen sexually thereafter. That unfortunately isn't the way that the birds and the bees work in this day and age, in this century at least. You do have to be sexual, you do have to generate attraction, otherwise, quite frankly, the girl's just going to use you in a way for the affection, the fun, the attention, and have you orbiting her like some far-flung distant planet with no plans to ever bring you down to planet Earth. So here, however, is an example of where, having figured this out, this was probably 6 months after I started day gaming, I was able to ride, because of what I'd learned intellectually, I was able to ride the friend's objection.
For the second date, I planned everything meticulously. The just friends speech did not seem to have been all that sincerely meant, as she turned up looking gorgeous. I decided to meet her at a pub on my street corner, The Ring, and to have one quick drink there before leading her to a mini adventure date on the Thames Clipper and to the pub on the Tobacco Dock at Canary Wharf, the one that I had tried and failed to take Oksana to. This was the pub with the pool table, which gave such good opportunities for intimacy. This time, I was determined not to leave the kiss attempt until the end of the date.
The fantastic part about it is I used 10 actresses for 20 different girls across a dozen different nationalities to give the scenes some real fun and some real spice. And that's, as I say, why I think it really does stand as an excellent little handbook of samples or examples of how not to and how to do the street approach and how to date.